Hey guys, Garrett with GliderSports here. Here bringing you our next version of our Pro Tip series. Today we're going to be showing you the Vittorazi updates on the throttle. There's been a handful of posts here lately on the social media in terms of broken plastic pieces of the Vittorazi V-Throttle. I want to go over some of those issues as to why they're breaking and how we can prevent that breaking. But most importantly, I want to remind all Vittorazi customers is that the V-Throttle, unlike a lot of the other products in the Vittorazi lineup, carry a 3-year product warranty. So if you have an issue, bring it back to your dealer or the person that you purchased either your motor or your throttle from to get a replacement. So with this new update, it's going to set the carburetor and its throttle to where it mates with the rest of the throttle at full throttle, with it being supported and not creating an extra strain. So with that update, you're going to need some sort of securing strap. Just so happens our mic straps from Shure seems to be working pretty well today, or any other rubber band, string, or other. You're going to simply secure your throttle so that it is in the wide open throttle position. If your throttle's been updated recently, if it hasn't, you will need some additional parts, predominantly an additional cable clamp. And that is accessory ACC054 that you can find at GliderSports.com. That's going to allow you to secure the cable clamp on the opposite side of the lever arm of your carburetor. You're going to need today a couple of 10mm wrenches, a flat blade screwdriver, a drop of super glue is also super handy. So, something else to note if this is your first time installing a throttle, a V-Throttle has a unique feature to which the ground is embedded into the mounting shaft of the throttle. This prevents you from the necessary actions of having to make a ground connection elsewhere on the motor. You're only going to find a single cable, and that's going to be made contact to your coil for your kill. While tightening down the 10mm nut, a little tip is before you make the final tension on the jam nut for your throttle, you want to lay your throttle over your paramotor and make sure the orientation left or right is of your liking. Otherwise you can rotate right at the base of the carburetor. That will make it more convenient and less fatiguing while flying. We're going to take the additional secondary cable stop. We're going to put that on the cable first. Then we're going to take one of the small machined brass pieces, slide it onto the throttle cable. And a quick extra tip is it does only go in one way into the throttle pivot point. And before you insert it all the way, take a dab of super glue and go ahead and apply it just to the outer diameter of what slides inside of the cable arm. Slide in, hold. Do make sure it is not adhering or to your throttle cable in any way to increase friction. After that's set, you'll take your original first cable stop, bring it to the end. Now what you're going to want to do, and it's sometimes a little tricky, sometimes it does help with assistance, is to bring your throttle to full throttle wide open position. And if you rotate it just right, it is just one of those jobs that you can get done by yourself. Give yourself just about a 1/16 to an 1/8 inch of play. Tighten down the first screw, which is on the outermost of your throttle arm. At this point you can release your tie mechanism on your throttle. This allows your throttle to return back to the open position. Then you'll want to tighten up your inner, which now sandwiches all three parts together. So you're going to have a mechanism that looks a little bit like that. So the first way take a really nice sharp pair of wire cutters, dikes, linemen's, trim the cable to the length that you want. After you get, apparently we need a sharper pair. After you get the length that you like, cut it, drop a bit of super glue right on the end, let it adhere, and that'll terminate your end for the most part pretty well. With any additional abrasion on the end, you will start to see some fraying. The method that we prefer, that if we're not out in the field, you actually need a drill to chuck in. So after the cable is strangely chucked into the drill, you're also going to need a light torch and either a vice grip needle nose or a set of pliers and a second set of hands. You'll want to make note which way the wire is twisted. Some are twisted clockwise, some are twisted counterclockwise. In the case of the Vittorazi V-Throttle, they're twisted counterclockwise. You are, of course, in your install, going to have a propeller in here. So you are going to want to select your brake point somewhere before your propeller. I'm using the vice grip to secure the cable so it does not twist. I'm going to use the torch to heat up the cable past my needle nose and at the approximate spot that I'd like it to break. And this is wire welding. And I'm not going to use the drill until I start to get a bit of smoking and optimally a little bit of red glow. And the trick is to go nice and slow. This is not something you want to rush. If you rush, you'll just end up fraying the wires. And again, it is super helpful for a second set of hands or the weight of a paramotor. And at that point, once you reach the right temperature, as well as enough spins, you'll leave yourself with a nice, fine, basically impossible to fray end for your termination end, so that you can add, remove, change your throttle amongst paramotors. So in closing, before you go fly your paramotor, you do want to check a couple things. You want to make sure that your throttle, of course, always returns back to idle. You want to make sure that when you squeeze your paramotor throttle to full, that you get full travel on both the carburetor itself as well as the throttle. You don't want to see anything excessive more than a ½ inch at the absolute most before making contact with your throttle. Otherwise, it may need a little bit of readjustment. The reason for the two on both sides is to prohibit when the throttle goes loose, to keep it from actually jumping out of the guide and having no throttle at all in flight. With that, guys, the good or the bad, keep in mind Vittorazi offers a 3-year warranty on their throttles, which is unheard of with any supplier that GliderSports has, especially for throttles. So if you have any issues, whether it be a simple plastic part break-in or needing the additional contact parts to be able to anchor in this new method, contact your Vittorazi dealer and we'll get you taken care of, and Vittorazi is going to do what they need to do to keep you in the air. Do be sure, guys, let us know if you like this video. Let us know what you want to see in the upcoming videos. If you didn't like it, hit the unlike button, but do let us know why, how we can improve to give you the content you want to see. If you like this video, definitely be sure to hit that like button. Let us know what we can do better, what you want to see, and what you want this new warehouse to be filled with to keep you in the sky.